Okay, so I'm just gonna make a little intro
Mhm.
and I'm gonna just introduce both of us in this field because there is this feeling of me in me that it's very present when you and I connect. And we've known each other for a couple of years already, as not as consistent friends, but as consistent soul friends or soul mates. And this means that we meet no matter how later at the same exact level through the evolution. And a year later, it's another level. A year later, it's another level. So I think the gift of our theme today is given to us to elaborate, expand, give it a space, give it a silence if it needs to, poke it with questions. And you and I are just going to sit here, first observe, feel everything, and honestly be so vulnerably open to whatever there is to come. I am wide open. My heart is wide blasted. And I tapped into the field of just surrender for this subject of universal love. And love is purity and love without the boundaries that I think we're all so hungry to tap into it. So here is
Mhm.
Jessica. It's very hard to explain who you are and putting it in a small little mini sentence of definition of who you are. You don't identify with anything to me. You're just pure you, unique you, pure love that shows up with everything that love has to offer. Hi and welcome. I love that you're here.
Oh, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for asking.
And for people that are going to listen to this podcast, I have the urge to say that this is not your normal appearing. You don't show up in public. You're not on social media. You don't open up very easily. And what I wanted to say and ask you is, have you ever wondered why so? Why is the heart choosing who and when and how much to open?
Because I feel that I have a gift of emotions and expressivity and authenticity that's so beautiful. And to some degree, even though I've been through a lot, it's not warped and untainted. So I don't feel that it's deserving of all of humanity on a social media platform to just rob and steal away from me.
Mm, yeah,
There's an innocence in the way that I perceive my feelings and my love, and I want to harness and hold on to that, I suppose, youthfulness. And even though as I age, harness that innocence. And I'm afraid that social media and putting it in the wrong channels would rob that of me.
yeah. And what you're saying is that these qualities of love inside of your heart that are almost so present, innocence, authenticity, it's purity, it's sacrecy. So much so that in the world of fear and panic and all the heaviness is a sacrilege to put, and also full of, I don't want to put it.
Yeah,
But why did you then choose to come and talk about this with me? I want to tap into that.
because from the moment I met you, I had an instant connection with you of love and appreciation. And I felt like you saw me, but saw into my soul. And I felt alive in your presence.
Yeah. And this right there is that intimate connection
Hmm.
when that is established only when the two are actually open to experience something and experience love to its own purity the way it needs to happen, the way it needs to actually evolve. And you almost sounds like, Jessica, you trusted love more than you trusted me. I'm just passing by.
Oh, yeah. Sure, yeah. It was a vulnerable time when I met you. And I think that all the masks were off and it was, the divine timing. And since then we've seen each other a few times since that first time. And yeah.
Yeah. I remember when we were in Spain on the workshop, do you feel do you want to tap into what the feelings of how that vulnerability and how did you show up to the world, to life, to your mission, still with such a wounded heart, and we're still able to actually connect even so deeply with souls around and energetically?
I suppose I had to trust the forum, the being in this intimate workshop. I had to trust the person that was holding it, first of all. Being in the country that I live in, I felt safe. And actually, I'm sorry, I am outside. Is this a distraction? Because I can maybe move inside. Because,
Nope,
okay,
I don't hear
okay,
anything else other than you.
okay. When I found the space for the retreat workshop to happen, I found it with my former partner. And so there was already a presence of him there in
Mm.
that space. So when I walked into the workshop and meeting you, I was in a vulnerable space because of his passing just a couple months before. But I also felt it was something that I needed to do. So I felt the support of the environment, the support of the people. The workshop lends itself to people that are also open-minded and curious. So whether or not I was going to come away with relationships, I knew that I was in a sacred space where I would be seen and would not be judged. And yeah,
Mm.
so
Yeah. And you tapped into such a deep opposition of emotional states and grief, out of which you actually were able to somehow innocently, magically pull out the strength
mm,
to show up to the world. And what that did actually caused the domino effect of who you became 3 years later. Is it two
yeah.
years? I think it's 2 years.
Yeah, it'll be 2 years in July. Yeah, 2 years.
Wow. So the loss of love turned out to open you up for more love. And you trusted love, capital L. You never lost trust. And I've seen you after Barcelona, in Seattle last year, and again
Hmm.
in Seattle this year, just a month ago. And
Hmm.
ever since 2023, I have seen you being more and more almost expanded into the love potential, but yet
Mm,
more and more careful about it.
yeah.
And when you speak of love and you speak of when you and I exchange about the love and its potential, we really just talk about the massive amounts available for us to take as per our capacity. And do
Mhm.
you feel that your capacity grew to hold much bigger love as you grow and evolve in it? But with that much love also comes that much pain. How did
Yeah,
you see this actually evolve since 2023, since the loss of love?
that's a
I
great
can't ask you
question.
a simple question.
No, no, I mean, I love it. I would say when my former partner passed, it was within seconds of him passing because I was lucky to have the gift of him being with me when it happened. The first thing I thought was, did he know how much I loved him? I didn't care about the argument. I didn't care about the money. You don't care about anything. And I remember I always made a promise to myself that I would always kiss him goodnight. He would always stay up late and I would always give him a kiss before I'd go to bed. And even in the nights that he drove me crazy, I would always just be like, Jessica, just give him a kiss on the lips, and say goodnight. And the problems will hopefully solve themselves in the next day. And I remember the first thing I thought was, okay, I kissed him last night because my biggest fear is that not only him, but any human being would pass through this life que- questioning if they were actually truly loved by somebody. For me, that's really a sad thing
Mm.
because in that moment, I knew that the only thing that was true and the only thing that was pure and the only thing that was real and that actually keeps people moving forward and inspired to survive is love. It's the
Yeah.
most powerful force. So that was the first question in my mind. I just wanted to make sure that he knew that he was loved. So in that moment, then of course you have to go through the whole bureaucracy of a death and everything. And then what happened after was I started to really ask myself, what is love? And why is it so important that people feel love? And it comes to like a sense of when you love someone and they know that, it gives them a sense of purpose and appreciation for their existence. And in the way that what the world is today, we are very indoctrinated by money and politics and social media and fleeting conversations and fleeting relationships that there's a mask that we're all wearing. But to go to that vulnerable place, like on a cellular like level of love, to receive that and to give that is so rare to find. And
Mm.
so after he passed away, I knew that love was everything. And in the last 2 years, I've exposed myself emotionally to meeting different men and flirting with the concept of relationship. I have not had a relationship, quote unquote, per se, but I've met different men. And when I come to them, I come with a almost like a innocence and wanting to hold on to that belief that love can still win and love exists. And I want to have that courage to love. So I come very unguarded, very unjaded. And I've had men look at me and just be like, wow, what you've been through has been so like heavy, heavy, I guess. And you're not upset or angry. And I thought, it's such an interesting thing because a couple of them had asked me, how do I have the courage to love so freely again
Mm.
without the anger and without the grief? And I now it's been time because I thought about that a lot. And it's because I know that I showed up to him with an open heart through the 3 years I was with him. I was honest, I was loyal, I was faithful. I thought about him, his needs, making sure he was cared for, and I showed up as pure love. I didn't
Mm.
hold any I didn't do any withholds, you know, those
Mm.
expectations and withholds of what do you call it like
Conditions.
conditions exactly.
Yeah.
And because when I love unconditionally. It's not a
Mm.
transaction. So I showed up to him, loving him unconditionally. And even though he wasn't perfect, um,
Yeah.
because the way I showed up, I think, helped me in the grieving process because I didn't have any regrets. And I kissed him every night before I went to bed. And I remember telling people after he passed away, I said, don't forget to kiss so and so every night, even if they drive you crazy.
Mm,
Because when he's got, because when someone is gone, like they're gone, gone, gone. Like
mm.
we don't get a do-over, I guess.
Yeah. It's not a game anymore.
No.
It's not a play. It's reality. And it's a missed chance. If
Yeah.
you, and what you're, did you want to say something else? I love your
Oh,
expo.
just so in that I would say in 2 years, I've come with such an open, like, platter of love. Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I think it's been a little sad for me that I haven't found the right person to embrace it. So now I feel like I am a little bit reserved. Not with fear, but I have to be a little maybe discerning.
Mm,
Because when you open up that channel of love and you want to give it to someone who's not ready to receive it, and then they either walk away or they're like, Jessica, I can't do this for you.
mm.
My question is, but I'm not asking you for anything,
Yeah.
and I never have. But my just love and energy has created this something in them. It triggers something in them. And if
Mm,
they haven't done the work, then they want to keep it at bay, or I don't know.
yeah. So
If
let's,
you're really, and this is why I connect with you, Malizia. If you think about it, the way that you and I operate, we are on a love plane. So we give and receive our energy and our love, and it's easy. But finding that,
mm,
I suppose it's been a little disappointing, but I don't want
yeah.
to give up the hope and desire for it, I guess.
See? So let me take all of this
Sorry, that was a lot.
because I absolutely love how open you are to it. And what I'm noticing, Jessica, is that there's not one time that you actually had a bad word about it. Because this love as its own consciousness comes in, it's gifted to you. And it was
Yes.
like, go ahead, Jessica, you have capacity, go ahead and explore. And with it comes the agony and ecstasy. Funny that
Mm-hmm.
we actually talked about this just a month ago on another workshop. So you have not said no to either. You actually are either getting pulled, seduced, allured, not even flirtatious. You are sucked back into the love and into the space because you can easily get sucked into the misery of it all, the agony, the
Yes.
desperation, and despair, because so much space and so much purity, as if it's not meant to sit in the form that we take on, the form of the body, the level of awareness, the level of consciousness that we evolved up to. So it seems not that you're ahead of the time, but that your capacity evolved so much more to hold the purity of innocence and unconditionality. Just that word is trendy because most people don't even know. I don't even know what the unconditionality means other than letting go, but
Yeah.
still holding the seed of it in its purity and allowing its space, time, and surrendering and vulnerability and the pain and agony and ecstasy to show up again and again and again and evolve you rather than
Yeah.
evolving everybody else. And the contribution to the love is just showing up and letting it offer itself to you.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful, beautiful. And you know, when it's almost like it's not the closed you that it became Jessica, who is now not open to it. What I want to pull out is what is alluring you back to open up again and not give up of it. I think that's more important than you just being more discerning or more filtering out what really is not for you. And that comes with clarity of trying so many times, getting into it, opening yourself up, learning the lessons that they are learning, and still saying yes. You still say yes to love.
Yes.
Big deal.
Because it sounds strange, but I love myself and I would love like I would date myself. I would think that it would be so fun to have an experience with somebody special because I'm really a special person.
Yeah.
So, and I want to find that special person who's ready to enjoy that and celebrate it and make memories and laugh and cry and make great passionate love. I really believe in the physical and I really want to intimately share myself with a man and make beautiful love and have that physical transaction of absolute surrender because I just believe that that's where the magic lies in life
Mm.
is that it's what creates a human life. And I
Yeah.
and so I'm open to love because yes, I can love myself and be a monk and be alone,
Mhm.
but I want to have that alchemy, and that involves sharing my soul,
Mm.
mean inviting somebody in.
Mm. I've been thinking about this week actually. And when you learn love for self so much that you want to date yourself in the most beautiful, tender way, soft and patient. Self-love
Yeah.
is the most patient love. It takes
Yes.
time, it's slow, it really gets you there, right? And when you learn how to love yourself, you evolve so much to your limits and you start growing. You are becoming ready to invest and invite someone else to come in and share
Yes.
your space. And that is now not only you, but you being merged with another. And that
Mm-hmm.
other must happen in order for you to evolve to the next level of your own evolution. So I
Yes.
totally get it.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
get it when you say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Surprise. But
I
let me
mean,
ask you
I
this.
don't, when people say to me, "Oh, Jessica, you don't need anybody. You have this beautiful," and I'm like, I absolutely would love to have somebody. And I kind of frown sometimes on that whole notion of being a strong, independent woman because I think yeah, but at the end of the day, who are you going to share it with?
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. I was a performer for 20 years, danced professionally, did it by myself, danced all over the world, had an amazing career. And I tell this to a lot of people, and this is kind of a metaphor for what we're talking about. You work for the rehearsals, you're under the lights, the costume, the feathers, the makeup, the everything. It's when you're on stage, it's like ecstasy. But don't forget, every night that curtain closes and I go home alone. So the curtain always closes. But what if the curtain closed and I had somebody to go home to? It'd be a different sensation. I used to cry when the curtain closed because I knew I'd either have to A, get another job or I would go home alone. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. You know how you and I can just talk about love so far that there's no boundary. As if you exit your body, you start flying off and you never come back.
Yeah.
But voila, we're still in this body. We have to land back in. And landing back in means a lot. Reality. What you're saying is that I'm still sharing the bed with no one. And I still have the lonely feeling of being alone, being isolated almost in this massive amount of potential of love. So I highlighted this one sentence out of book that I was like, I'm just going to open this book on love and I'm
Yeah.
going to find what I'm going to bring to you. And then it showed up and I highlighted it in red. And it says, okay, we must be careful not to get lost in our imagination,
Mm-hmm.
which is the fake thing to say, not good thing to say. Though we believe, don't get lost out there flying. In the contrary, imagination needs to be the place where we get found.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And when you talk about this, when you come with the wholeness of you, with the feeling and embodied trust in the love, what you're actually doing, it looks to me that you are finding yourself,
Yes, yes.
finding
Yep.
yourself.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
as you find yourself in the potential of the love and capacity that you're obviously holding, and you're very much aware of it, love starts to not make sense in the traditional container.
Mm, that's a good point.
So, do you feel like that? Do you feel that every time it fits the old traditional container of nuclear or, like just you and I roles and stuff like that? Do you feel that you don't have any other option than to come up with the new way of relating to love and to others, to you?
Well, I find that I don't know if sometimes people don't take me seriously because I have such a capacity of love without um, grudges or pain or drama, because I would say a big part of the population equate love with pain, victimization, wounding, suffering. So when you have this exorbitant amount of love, it doesn't know like where are the anchors of drama. Like, I love you because you that there's always like those kind of
Push and pulls.
juxtaposed. Yeah, like I will die for you because da 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 da, or I'm here with you because everything is always like a condition. And a lot of people, I'm not going to say a lot, but a handful of people that I've met who have been in long-term marriages or that I meet when I start dating, they've all had wounding, they've all had complaints of their partner. But, I married him and I loved him. But, and there's always this like settling back. But what if you fully accepted that person without wanting to change them? Because going into dating in your 40s, I have to fully accept that person in front of me. And so I think because my tolerance level is so high of, for instance, I'm going to give you like just like an example. A gentleman says, "Oh, I'd love to take you out on Sunday." Great, I'd love to meet you. Let me know what time. And let's say they don't call or not or whatever. And then a couple days go by. Oh, and then they check in. Oh, hello, how are you? In my mind, I'm going to assume that the reason that they didn't organize an exact time to see me on that Sunday was because that was something blocked in them. They didn't want to see me.
Mm,
So I just let it go. Does that make sense? Like
mm-hmm,
it could have been something like, oh, I would have loved to see you Sunday. If they say, sorry, it didn't work out. Oh, yeah, I would have loved to have seen you, but I didn't hear from you. So I assumed that something came up.
mm,
We're not, I can't be like, why didn't you call me? Da, 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 all these conditions, going through like a list of questions of seeking control, because love is not control.
mm,
When somebody chooses to want to get to know you and share love with you and be with you, they will show up.
yeah.
Period. Like, period.
Woo.
Yeah, it
So,
may not, yeah, it may not like, okay, it may be a couple hiccups on scheduling or whatnot, but just to stay in communication. So a big thing I've learned in really just being so deep in love and knowing that love is the truth, I really don't take a lot of things personally at all from people.
Mm, that's a superpower. That is really a superpower.
Well, I
So,
read it in Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, if you know that book. Yeah,
mhm.
okay. It's the second agreement is don't take things personally. But I don't think it really started to
Jessica, is
register.
it,
Oh,
yeah, is it
sorry.
said and done?
Yeah, no, of course. But I think
Uh,
after what happened with the passing of my partner,
mm,
I'm like, oh, you don't want to go out on a date with me, or you ghost me, or you that's child's play to me. Like,
mm.
I don't
So
know, like
what
I
I'm
just really let go.
what I'm hearing you say is that, when this is what I learned through my relating. If I assume just a tiny bit, I assume because my story is not finished, because I only know my part of the story. I actually don't know what is happening on your side. And I'm left with no explanation other than assumption in order to close the story, because the story wants to get closed. And it's either going to be correctly or wrongly closed. And oftentimes with assumption, it's all wrong, more wrong than it's correct. So what I'm hearing you say is that let's talk like humans. And talking and communication is the intimacy and vulnerability of showing up and saying, I'm hurt, I'm late, I can't. This is why. This is what you trigger. This is how I feel. And we're so conditioned not to do that
And
in the
do you know
face
why?
of love. Why?
Because they're so afraid to hurt the person that they're going to disappoint and they have to live with that. They'd rather,
Hmm.
they would rather not say anything because saying something makes them accountable for hurting your feelings.
Mm-hmm. So
And
it's the
that's sad.
capacity to handle
Yeah.
the weight, the heaviness, the will you say darkness that comes with it?
Yeah, a lot of people would rather just turn the other cheek. It's it's like the wife that's with her husband who knows he's having an affair, but she's afraid to confront it. She just turns the other cheek because she knows she's going to have to be vulnerable and she could lose
Mm.
everything. But then
And
she's
it's
not living in her truth.
because of the fear.
Yeah, and she's actually, at the end of the day, she's having an affair on herself. Her husband's not having an affair.
Mm. Because she's not in her truth.
Yes.
So psychologically, this is happening a lot. And
Oh,
psychologically, in many areas of our life, we are sooner or later about to look into the fear in the eye, and either confront it or turn the blind eye and
yeah,
not say anything. And this not only applies to marriage and relationships, but also applies to relating to your own self. It's like, can you deeply look into
100%.
it? What are you
Yeah,
afraid of?
blinds. Yeah, what are your blind spots? Yeah. Yeah, going through the dark night of the soul. Like going through the dark night of the soul. It's really scary because, well, this is where I think astrology really helped me. Look a little bit deeper into certain patterns. I know we're not talking about astrology here,
It's
but when I
good.
think about my Neptunian aspects, my aspects with Neptune, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of that dreamy. I used it as like a little benchmark just to check that I wasn't going too crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it wasn't in too much of an illusion.
because
But
that's also a fear that you
yeah.
can get lost out there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we can get lost in the midst of the darkness and in the lights of the eternity, how do you conquer? Sorry, how do you anchor yourself? What is your anchor? What's your anchor? What do you anchor into?
My dancing, my dancing, my body,
Mm,
because my body, my emotions are my evidence. My body always tells me the truth. I've been a dancer my whole life, and I anchor myself in movement. I anchor myself, um, well, it helps working with children actually, because I teach a lot of kids. So
mm,
just being around their little simple questions. So looking through the lens of the child. And then I suppose the $1 million statement is that I told you in Seattle was, what would love do? What would love do in this situation? And then that
mm.
forces you to drop down the ego, the mask, drop into the body, drop into the heart. But it does involve some vulnerability for sure. But at the end of the day, if you lead from a heart space of what would love do in this situation, listen, even if you don't get your way, it doesn't matter. You're at least showing up with love, you know?
100% agree. And spin around all the roads somehow lead to you, to your heart,
Of
out of
course, yeah.
which love shows up. And what would love do? Let me ask you this. What do you think love would die for? I want to cry with my answer.
Tell me your answer.
To be
I'm,
experienced.
yeah, to be experienced. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
Or,
how in the world
yeah,
you say no to love? How?
or a love that's lost. Like, someone told me grief is love with nowhere to go.
Mm,
So there, it's kind of that same thing. When love doesn't have a place to land, it's that for me is a heartbreak.
yeah. Just, doesn't this make you happy? Just what you just said. Love
Yeah.
needs to be expressed. It needs to land somewhere.
Yeah. And of course, it always will, you'll bathe in it yourself. But that's why I always keep going back to sharing it with somebody. Wow.
You want to touch that? You want to touch on what does it feel to you to merge with another energy, another soul, that deep, that big.
In the context of making love or in the context of just like sitting next to somebody?
In any concept or context where love wants to be experienced.
Well, um in a non-sexual way, when I'm with you and I'm in conversation with you, I feel like we're the only two people in the whole room or in the whole existence. Like I become encapsulated by this bubble. It's like I forget everything that's going on around me. So that's one way it shows up for me in the
But what do
context.
you
Oh,
But
sorry.
what do you get out of it? Because what you're talking about is this deep, deep connection that it's not sexual nor related to any type of intimacy that it's physical, but rather than there's this knowing and familiarity that comes in that encapsulates everything. What are you getting out of that expression of love?
That I'm making a difference, that the energy that I'm sharing with that person is highlighted, or the energy is going to go out into the room, or I'm feeling seen, I'm feeling understood. I'm not crazy. How about that? I'm not crazy. Um, I'm free. I'm out of the matrix. Like if
Isolation, separateness.
isolation, like I remember I had this one moment, I don't know, a while ago, just I was talking to her randomly, and then she just said, I feel you, but more importantly, I see you. And I just like hugged her, and then I never saw her again for the rest of my life. And it was, yeah, I guess a really beautiful sharing. I don't know.
Hmm. How I see it and how I judge it or gauge it,
Yeah,
expansion or contraction.
yeah,
And
yeah,
whenever there's an expansion, there's such an exchange in energetic level as
yeah.
if it's creating something on its own. And it's so powerful that it wants to create and it wants to do it its own way as long as it needs to, as big as it wants to get. It's going to eliminate everything that it's not serving it. And it's like I just experience expansion and
Hmm.
lightness afterwards.
I love that
And it's
word.
like, I am richer with this experience.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but it's so incredible to really experience that, Malizia, because not a lot of people, and when I was younger, I wasn't free. You know, you have a little sheltering or shadows or this and that, but then when all that, it's like you're naked again, like a little baby.
Hmm.
It's yeah, it's a big expansion for sure, but it's hard to find those moments with people to have those exchanges. It's very rare in my life.
Well, in mine too. That's why I asked, does he want a different container? Damn it. Because we want to put it in a tiny little bubble that we know how is not
Yeah,
working generationally.
no.
See, but I really, I don't want to jump over. I want to see how you experience the expansion and gift of love when you merge intimately with someone. What does that do to you?
Um,
Where do you go?
this will be personal. I don't have a child of my own. Um, when I fully surrender and let go in that like intimate act of making love, like physically feeling seen, feeling desired, feeling the love flowing between two people, it's like I completely turn inside out. It is emotional, but physically, I, it's like I go back into my body in a way. Yes, of course, it feels good and it's euphoric. Okay, yeah, like that all happens. But after like the orgasm and after the ecstasy of it, I feel my body like a primal desire of wanting to procreate. And I can feel the thrusting like within my cervix and in my abdomen, deep in the walls of, and I feel like my body is wanting to create life.
Hmm.
And it's I would say I've only really felt it maybe with one or two people in my life. But when I get to that, then of course that takes me to such a primal, a, it's like full, full, full surrender because as the woman's body can procreate and make a child. And that's what keeps the human race going. If you peel it all back in from the days humans came into this earth, we hold that sacred ability to keep procreating. So in some of the
Wow.
most profound moments, it's when I can tap into that essence of wanting to actually feel my body craving to want to merge
Merge
and
to
make a
create.
child. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And and that to me is what's amazing about it is because I don't go into the experience thinking, oh, I could totally imagine having kids with this person. It doesn't happen like that. It's just I go in with the feeling and then I start to feel vulnerable if I feel safe with them. And, but I'll tell you, it's only happened in the last 9 years of my life. It didn't happen when I was younger. I was dancing so much. I was programmed. I was like,
Mhm.
but when I started to know myself and love myself, and yeah, that was so love is life for me. Like that in that context, being with somebody, I felt a life force through the love and through the intimacy, I guess, if
I
that makes.
totally understand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
totally.
wild.
And what you just explained is like you're tapping into your primal, n-
Yes.
almost genetic, almost
Yes.
humane desire to
Mhm.
continue. I'm talking civilization. I'm talking
Exactly.
so bad.
It's that is for me so powerful.
Yeah.
That is so powerful because we are distracted enough with everything else, but to have that experience, that's why I'm like, when I think about women who do IVF and I understand that that's their choice, but I wonder if they really knew what it was like to fully surrender physically and emotionally in that
Mm.
act because the
Wow.
body, like animals. Animals know we are animals. For me, these are my thoughts. We are animals. The body knows when it needs shelter, when it's fear, when it needs to procreate, the body knows everything. Like, so if you sit with that and surrender, and God willing, you're with someone you feel safe with, you can procreate it at such a primal level.
Mm.
It's magic.
And also, even if it doesn't turn into a matter or a child, a physical
Right.
manifestation of it, the tapping into it with your embodied experience, which is also part of your consciousness and
Hmm.
part of the evolution, is the overall contribution to our humanity. I am a big believer in this, that we
Yes.
don't have to go and demonstrate on the street for everything. We all don't have to have children to procreate. I'm a big
Right.
believer
Exactly. Yeah.
that working inward and actually discovering these parts of ourselves, our capacity to love, our capacity to hurt, to surrender, to want, to desire, to calm down, to be nothing and everything, to hold the
Yeah.
paradox and duality of every single part of us, because there's so many and so many multi-layerness. It's like so much of a multi-layerness in us and in other. It's like
Mhm.
it's the school is never ending. And to
I
be
know.
willing and courageous and curious to dive within is such a big contribution, which is why I don't hear people talk about universality of love and its
No,
purity in its pure form. Not because we might not be ready for it, to
that is true.
concept of it. What you and I just did, we went deep down into the primal. Like, what are you talking about, right? So, but I know what you mean, because to me that manifests as the desire to die and disappear, dilute. Meaning what you said is like recreation of the almost like contribution to the civilization's continuity. I
Yeah.
felt it as, gosh, I want to just disappear and become everything. So the
Yeah.
manifestation of such a primal desires is really this what created cosmos. And to
Yeah.
get to that stage of feeling it, wow, I can just say, wow, isn't that rich and powerful? Why would you say no to it?
Yeah. But it's so I think because like it's so expansive. It's like this white light, right? when everybody wants like chapters, cliff notes, bullet points, you know what I mean? Like you really, if you want to go into that space, like we're talking about love, we're not afraid to dive in, but a lot of people don't even know where to begin. But I think a lot of it has to do with they don't really know love within themselves, maybe. Do you think someone can find love, like go as deep with what we're talking about if they don't have the love within themselves? What do you
I like to
think? No.
I like to believe that we are evolving really fast and that not only conceptually our timeline is shrinking, which means we have to evolve fast, which is why everything is happening all at the same time, my experience. I also believe that we, humanity, us humans, evolved to a different way of receiving different concepts at the same time. And as this concept is shared, which is why if I can contribute to anyone, even that be one person in UK or in New Zealand,
Mhm.
it's the hope and faith that should never die. And when there is no hope and faith in something so pure, then there is no imagination that you are actually doing something, you are actively participating towards some higher self, higher need, and higher beauty for everybody, then we die off. We die off. And you and
Yeah.
I both believe in love so much, though we're both single. This is paradox of it, right? But to bring you back to the beginning and you peered up on this, it's like not experiencing love, not even once in our lifetime. It's the saddest thing, right?
Yeah.
Not being able to experience the love. So maybe the whole point is continuous search for it and expansion. And we will meet when we are destined to meet.
Well, and it starts with the work that you're doing and creating an
Mm.
awareness. And that's
Mm.
huge.
I'm saying yes again.
Saying yes. Yeah.
Never saying no to love because it's all love.
No.
Love is life, you said.
Yeah, when you say no, it's just a form of control. That's all. It's
Wow.
you're controlling the outcome. You don't want to get hurt again. You don't want to, you know what I mean? Like it's all, but there's so many different forms of love and different forms of relationships of love. And it can be through a partner, it can be through a mother, child, father, son, daughter, it can be siblings, it can be everything. But every person you come in contact with, if there's a not a tension or a friction or something that doesn't feel right, they're teaching you something. And there's a lesson of love in that.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, some way, you'll find the answer is love in every equation. It just might look differently. Does that make sense?
Totally.
I know, especially when you don't get your way. Okay, fine. We can be like kids sometimes. Be like cranky. That's normal. But
Wow. See, it got us places. How do you feel?
I feel so light. I mean, I'm looking at this beautiful village in Spain in Sitges, and I see the church and the Mediterranean Sea. I'm beautiful, well, not summer yet, but almost summer night. I feel really light. I feel elevated. I feel so calm. And I feel reminded that I'm supposed to be right here, right now in this journey of my life.
Yeah. Somehow it all fits and makes sense. When
Somehow
you
it
put
does.
the love goggles.
No, well, because you know what? In a strange way, I just had this like feeling, Malizia, like maybe we're supposed to have this conversation, especially within the context of where we are in our lives, in
Mm.
order to be so available.
I agree. Can I read you one thing that I read yesterday?
Yes,
Okay, hold
please. Okay.
on. I think this will be such a good closure,
Yes.
and you're gonna love it because you kind of kicked me in a very different direction too. Trust your heart above all else, and never worry about the consequences.
Yeah.
Just this makes me open up. It cracks me open. Trust your heart. In
When,
that
yeah,
heart, there's so much
incredible.
love.
Yeah. And you know what? The consequence is only perceived with the way you receive it. It may not be a consequence. It could be love in disguise from that person, from that experience, from that event. It's all the lens. So yeah, trust in your heart and trust in love 100% all the time. You will be taken care of and you will be protected for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Hopeful romantics. Two of us.
Yeah.
I love it. This was such a good journey. Whew.
I know, but come on. I mean, I really just believe in those love songs. I kind of do. I believe in my choreography when I'm dancing and I'm yearning for somebody. I believe in my body. I believe in those beautiful books that were written of beautiful love stories. There are other people out there
There
besides,
are.
you know, I think that a lot of it has just gotten, I don't want to say tossed away, but to some degree, if you think about the greatest love stories, it always seems like it's in the past, right? Like
Mm,
hundreds of years ago, right? Right. It wasn't so
mhm,
tarnished. You hear about the, someone goes off to war and the love letters between, like
mm.
those, now you're texting and you know what I mean? Is there's still emotion behind it, but the romanticism is becoming lost. I suppose that's what I'm saying. I love love and the romance of love.
Yeah.
That's for me a sacred version of love.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the beauty, the beautification and aesthetics of it, but not in outside of you rather than aesthetics of feeling. You mentioned your love is dancing. The way you move is the love
Yeah,
moves through you. And how
yeah,
you emerge and merge together with what you're doing is very much what you relate to and how you relate to with so much love. So the beauty of it, the quality of it embodied inside is bound to open you up, bound to open you up if you
yeah,
believe it.
yeah.
And what you believe is what you receive. And I 100% stand behind it, stand behind what you say. It's like, I believe in it and I will die believing in it. And if I have
Yes.
to fall on its sword, it's probably going to turn to a beautiful flower anyway. So I
Hmm.
trust in it, I believe in it, and I want it. Sometimes, we just have to wait for them to be ready to come and meet us because not everybody goes to the speed of light like you do or I do.
Right, right. But wow, if we're a catalyst for them just to even look at their definition of love, even if I never see them again, or if I never actually create a partnership with them, that to me was love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is all encompassing. So it
Mhm.
comes with forgiveness and acceptance
Yeah.
automatically.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh my God. So, what did we conclude?
I know we should have concluded on that quote, but just, I don't know. I'm really
Uh,
grateful for this time that we shared, and I'm grateful for this opportunity that you made me feel safe and I could open up my heart space and hopefully touch one person in this world, through through a social media platform, which I so don't do, but maybe this is something that needs to be heard. So I trust this with you.
I trust it too. I trust love.
Ah,
Thank you
I
so
trust
much. Thank you
you're
so,
welcome.
so much
And
for being open. Oh my
yes,
God. Thank you. I love you. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
thank you, Malizia. Mm. Kisses and blesses from Spain.
Ciao.